go ahead. Tell us about selling products on Amazon. That's a fascinating subject. A lot of people want to learn about it because anybody can really do it. And they just know how to get around setting it up. But if you would tell us how you did it,
sure.
That would be fascinating.
One of the things that me and my son did was we found this YouTube site. There's a chap called Mark Scott Adams, and he kind of teaches you, he gives you some ideas as to how to go about it. So we did actually use a lot of his information. But what I'll do is I'll just share the information I've got and the knowledge and experience, and hopefully that will cover most things.
All right.
So the first thing I think you need to do when you want to get a product is you need to do some market research. So, for example, a lot of people, they go for yoga mats, okay? Now, if you do a search for yoga mats on Amazon, you'll probably find about 200 people that are selling them, okay? Now, when you think about it, the chances of you selling something on Amazon is not very good unless you're in the top 2 or 3 pages. So if you're now competing against 200 people, that's going to be tough. So one of the things that I would say to people is if you are looking at getting a product, search for products. And if you can find a product where there's not a lot of competition, but there is demand, then you're probably on the winner. Okay, so do your market research first. The second thing is I would do is I would go for a small product. And there's a number of reasons for that. One of the reasons is that if you decide to get, say, 100 items, the shipping costs are going to be quite high if you've got a big product. Big products tend to break as well, so small products are good. And also, if you're somebody that's starting out, then a small product is likely to cost less money, okay? And if you're going to buy 100 products, 100 items, and then you're going to have to pay shipping costs, then you're going to have to pay for all sorts of other sort of hidden costs like customs, excise, tax, everything. That's going to come to a lot of money. So you want to start small, okay? The other thing I would also say is you want to choose a product that's uncomplicated. You don't want to buy a product that's got instructions with it, because people will look at instructions, they'll try and read them, and most people have a very low tolerance level. So after 2 or 3 minutes, they give up and they just want to return the goods. So that's not a good thing to do. Obviously, I've mentioned the unbreakable items. That's important, because if you're importing from somewhere like China, okay, you don't know, the guy at the other end might send you some broken pieces anyway and sort of make out, oh, you must have happened in transit. Well, who knows? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. And as I said before, you need to find something cheap, because once you buy into the hundreds, it's going to cost.
Tell us about your own experience. You've been selling products in Amazon for 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Successfully. And so tell us how you did it and how you learned about it and how is it that people can do this?
Okay. Well, the thing is, it's not easy and it's very time consuming. Okay. I think the hardest thing is the marketing. If you look on the product that we sold, which was the Xbox travel bag, you'll see that we've got 80 reviews, and most of them were 5-star reviews. Okay. Now, it took us until we got to about 25 reviews. That's when people started actually seeing us on the first and second page. And we needed to maintain that. And the thing is when you have an unhappy customer, you've basically got to say to yourself, well, either I get into an argument with this customer and get a bad review, which drops my viewing to a lower page, or I either give the item to him free of charge, or I come to some sort of agreement where he's a happy customer. So that's quite important. But so marketing's important. The thing is you've got to try and drive people to the Amazon. So what we did was we got into a community where we got to meet other sort of people that sold on Amazon, and we kind of said to them in a nice kind of roundabout way, look, we'll buy your products and give you a nice review. You do the same for us. and let's bump up our reviews so that we get more reviews. Because until you get the reviews, you're not going to get people buying. So we did that. So let's talk about then buying the product. Well, you can buy obviously from different sources, but we chose China. We chose Alibaba, because 90% of the things that are made in the world are from China anyway. So you might as well go directly to China. So the first thing that you need to do is obviously make contact with a seller of a product that you like. Okay. Now, with Alibaba, what they also do is they do star ratings as well, because you can see who is a good seller and who's a bad seller. So that's another thing that you need to check before you buy. Check the rating and the reviews of what other people think of the seller. So once you've got that sorted out, then what you need to do is ask the seller to send you a sample, just one item. Some of these sellers will send it to you free of charge. Other ones will ask you to pay for it. So you then get the item, you have a look at it, and if you're happy with that specimen item, then you go out and buy 50 or 100 or 1,000, depending on what the product is. Okay. Now, what you've got to remember as well, there are other costs involved, and that's transportation. Okay. So what most people do is they use the service which is called free on board. So what you do is you ask the seller to deliver the product to the dockyards where the ship is, because what you'll be doing is you'll be having that item delivered to you by ship, simply because ship is cheaper than aeroplane. Okay, so what will happen is you'll have to pay extra for them to transport the item to the ship, and then when they transport it to the ship, okay, what you then do is that they've got the documentation, the bill of lading and all the other documentation that goes with the with obviously the item that you're going to be receiving. Now, what I would advise most people to do is, from the moment the item appears on the ship, that's when you do not want the Chinese seller to have any more involvement with the product. What you're now wanting to do is either your American or your UK person, he then takes control. And the reason I say that is because when you approach an American sort of shipping agent, he will tell you exactly how much it's going to cost you. Okay. If you decide to go along with the Chinese guy all the way to America, then, there's all these hidden costs. You don't know where they come from. He might turn around to you and say, I want another $200. And you might say, well, where's that from? And you can't really argue with him, because you either have got to accept the products now or not accept them. So, what you're going to do, you're going to accept them. So at least with your American or your UK shipping agent, it's better for you to accept them to take delivery. So when the ship arrives 2 or 3 months later, depending where it's going, okay, your UK or your US shipping agent, what they'll do is they'll go into the container once the ship has been unloaded, and they will pull your boxes out, however many of them are, and they will then inspect them. Once they've inspected them, then the customs and excise people, the VAT people, the government officials, they'll inspect it to make sure it's not illegal, there's not something wrong with it. And once that's all been accepted and you've paid those costs as well, then you have to decide whether the product is going to go to your house or it's going to go to the Amazon warehouse. Okay. Now, sorry.
How do you search these people that help you, that the American shipper or the Chinese guy or the guy that's manufacturing the product to sell it to you? How do you get in contact with them? Do you have to travel all the way to China, or
no,
can you do it over the internet? How is it that you start?
Yeah, well, what you would normally do is with Alibaba, you just email them. You send them an email, and it's what you do is if you go into Alibaba, you'll see thousands and thousands of products, and if you're interested in any of them, you just click the button, and then immediately the person on the other side says, "Hi, are you interested in my product?" And you say yes, and then you build up a relationship with this person, and they send you, after you've asked them a few questions about the product, you then ask them to send you a sample. So you build that relationship up at the very beginning by email.
And the sample they can send over the mail, that you don't have to do all the shipping stuff.
Oh no, not for the one item, the specimen item. That can be by mail, yeah. And if
So
I mean, yeah,
when the volume increases, then you need to have a separate shipper and handler of the products, right? Because it's a bulky item, and you need probably pallets or a container ship.
that's
Um,
correct.
so
Yeah,
okay,
sure. So you would what you would want to do to begin with is you might, depending on what the cost is. Obviously, the more you buy, it tends to be cheaper. But most times you'd probably buy, say, maybe 100 items. So they might come in a few boxes depending on how big the item is. And as I say, they get delivered to your country. And then once they've been assessed by the government and you've paid your taxes, then they'll obviously get delivered either to Amazon or to you. Now, we used to have our items delivered to our house. And the reason was because what you have is you have a product, whatever it is, and you want to make it your own product. So with us, we had a bag. So we had a sleeve which we put around it. So we had a brand. So it had a name. We also put a compliment slip inside. Thank you for buying our product. Check out our website. We have other products that we sell. So you can personalize it. You can put all these little items and things inside the bag. You might want to put some complimentary things. So with our bag, we had CDs. So we might sort of give 2 or 3 free CD sort of like holders, which cost $2 or $3. Really
that's
cheap
all.
things.
That's all marketing, yes. But I'm interested to know, once the goods get in the ship to the dock at the UK, how do you get them from the dock to your house?
Right.
Do you need to contract a local transportation company to do that?
Yeah. What you have to do is you have to contact the shipping agent. It's got to be a shipping agent first, because they will be having once the ship lands in your country, they will send somebody, to the container, and they will go inside that container and they will find your boxes or bags of things, or whatever it is you've purchased.
So how do you pick a shipping agent? How do you find out about them? How do you select one? How do you make a relationship with them?
Well, unless you know anybody, you just have to search for them on Google. Okay, if you find somebody, okay. Now what you can do, and this is what we do in the UK, is we have what's called the Chamber of Commerce. So we have an organization where sort of a lot of businesses are registered. And these organizations, this organization, the Chamber of Commerce, they will help young people, people that are like doing startups and things like that. They'll give them advice and help. So you could approach them. Or as I say, you could just take your chances, go onto Google and find somebody.
Okay, yeah, but then it's better to go with a recommended person in the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Because you have some trust that the person is not going to, rip you off or do that service. Yes. So that's fascinating. So then you get the products, you personalize them, and then you ship them again to
Amazon, to the warehouse.
And then Amazon will find the customers and ship them and put their own markup. So tell us about your experience on the profit margins and all the various expenses along the value chain, the distribution channel.
Okay. Right. Well, what I'd say to you is 2 things. First of all, these figures, they're not exact figures, and these figures are a few years out of date. But generally, I would say with our bags, initially, when we started selling them at about £30. Okay. The bags cost us, they started off at about £10, and then they went down to £8. Okay. The shipping costs were about £2 per bag, and we spent about £1 on other sort of admin and marketing costs.
Marketing, yes. And what did the shipping agent charge?
They charge a fixed fee, and the charge depends on how many boxes you have, the size and the weight. I mean, I can't give you the exact figures, but it'd obviously be a good few. It'd probably be about £1,000 if you had, say, 100 bags.
So then you sell the item in Amazon for $30, and then Amazon takes a cut, right? How much do they make?
At the time, they were taking about £8. I think it's about 11 or 12 now. It's gone up, but it was about £8 at the time.
It's about a third, I think. Right, 30%, 33%.
Yeah, something.
So let's assume £10. Okay, so you have 10 here, 10 there. So and 3 altogether, it costs you 23. So you're making £7 per bag. Is that correct? Does that seem reasonable?
That's reasonable, because the other thing that you've got to account for is breakages, because when the items at Amazon, sometimes they will contact you and say that items have been damaged, and they don't give you the full price. They give you what they consider to be a fair price, which is, I can't remember now whether it's half or a third. I just can't remember now.
So is it more advantageous to go to Amazon first and tell them that you want to be in this business, and won't they refer you to various people that can help you?
Right. Well, what I'd say to you is this: is when you get your products from China, you've got two options. You can either advertise your products on Amazon and sell them like you would sell your items on eBay, which means you keep them at your house. Somebody on Amazon says they're interested, and then you do all the, you go to the post office or whatever, or the courier, and they send the item. So you can either do it from home, or you can get Amazon to do it. Now, Amazon will help you more, and you will sell more products if you deliver them to the Amazon warehouse, because the Amazon warehouse don't want to have lots of products in their warehouse. They want them to move, so they tend to help you, okay? But having said that, if you have a product that doesn't sell very well, I think after about a year, they will start to charge you storage fees, okay?
Okay.
Now, storage fees is one option, because they do offer two other options. And the other two options is they can either destroy the items, or they can send them back to you. Okay.
All right. And then how does Amazon pay you? Do they send you a check on the mail, or do they credit your account? Or
they credit your account.
You have to. And then how do you pay Alibaba in China? You send them a check, or you send them a wire, or you send them.
You wire them. You wire them, or you go through your bank. So you would send them the money first before, obviously, they.
What if they don't ship after you send? If you're buying 1,000 products, you're talking $10,000 that you're sending them. What if they just don't respond anymore? They just keep the money. What happens then?
You've got a problem. That's what happens. If you want to, you could go to China and sort them out, but you just have to put it down to experience.
Don't you use letters of credit for importing from China, or when you don't know the supplier, you don't have a relationship?
Well, there are things that you can do. I mean, we never did those things. We were lucky. We had a good relationship with our seller. But the sort of things you can do is that there are people that you can employ locally within China. So, for example, you can have people go to the warehouse and check the items before they actually get dispatched and go on the ship. You can do that, and there are people that will do that for you.
You can have an inspection of the goods, right? So okay, but then that adds to the cost.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So I have my own experience with Amazon.
Okay.
I wrote a little book. It's called Saving for Retirement Made Easy.
Yeah.
And I just send it to Amazon, via PDF file, and they're selling it. They take care of the printing of the, finding the customers, and they just send me a royalty payment.
Okay.
It's just so easy. I don't have to deal with shipping agents or anything. It's just it's a different product than selling something that's manufactured in China. But of course, the scale that you could do, and after you have all the team set up, with the people that can help you, it's easy to go on to the next product, right? And to have like a series of products, and you could really become like a major company. Yeah.
We did have our own shop on Amazon because we used to sell quite a few different products. So we also sold we sold some of the PlayStation games and Xbox games. We sold the VR headsets, the ones that you can buy. So we did. We sold other products. It was a bit hit and miss, but it didn't matter because if we didn't sell them on Amazon, we could sell them elsewhere. Because what we used to do is we'd buy in bulk, and some of the stuff we'd send out, and other stuff we'd hold back. And we'd find other avenues for selling. I mean, we could go to a local retailer shop and give them a little bulk buy, which they could purchase. But
Right.
As an Amazon person, and selling, one of the things that you can do, if you build up a good relationship with China, you can actually go to China because they have trade fairs there. And
Yes.
If you're smart enough and clever enough and you've got a good eye for products, you could possibly even buy a product that's not even available in your country, and you can have a 2 or 3 month head start selling your product before everybody else catches up and starts selling the same thing that you're selling.
Absolutely. And you can get your product manufactured specifically for you. For example, I have a friend here in Puerto Rico that sells uniforms for schools.
Okay.
And he takes all the requirements from the schools. It has to be the logo, the school name, whatever, it has to be this color, whatever. And he goes to China like 2 or 3 times a year, and then he has people there that he's met and developed relationships with. And he says, I'll buy you this shirt if you make it good quality and you comply. I'll buy it every year from you. And the people want the continued business. So that's one way of keeping them honest, right? Because they want the future business. And so he does this, but he doesn't sell it on Amazon. He just sources the products from China, manufacturers, but that requires traveling there, and of course it's expensive. It takes time. I have another guy that sells shoes, and he manufactures in China, and he picks them up in Los Angeles, and then from Los Angeles, California, he ships them to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating the way people can build a business around the low cost labor in China, and compete with people doing products in various places, like you in the UK or me in Puerto Rico.
Sure.
So this is a great opportunity that I think has to be looked at by people. And like you say, selling is an important area. And if you invest in a lot of inventory and then it doesn't sell, then you're in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, I think that what you can do is, I mean, once when you have, like, say, maybe 100 items, I suppose once you get past maybe 30, 40, 50 or however many, if you've done your sums, when you've already made the profit. And if your goods don't sell as well, you can probably discount them or find sort of cheaper ways of selling them. One of the things I would say to people, if they are wanting to do it, is to try and personalize these things, make them sort of different. So, for example, if you've got a pencil case that you want to sell, and there's 200 people selling pencil cases, then do a pencil case with pencils, and you might find there's only 50 people or 20 people selling. So, try and find different ways, because there's nothing out there that people don't know about. You've just got to use your imagination and create something that looks a bit different.
Absolutely. The initiative is a cornerstone of our free market system, and it's why people get the products that they want, because a lot of people are trying to make a buck, and they're trying to, satisfy the customer, and they're thinking of ways, and they have the initiative to do it.
Yeah.
So this is great story. I think Steve, that you've done well with that business. Selling products for 4 years with in Amazon, and I congratulate you for that.
Thank you. Well, my son obviously learnt a lot from it, and now he's moved on to bigger things. He's selling houses.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have to go to China.
You mentioned in a previous conversation that you started this whole thing to give your son, the experience and the learning experience. Yeah. And so that was commendable.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you, Guillermo. I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.